Good day everyone. My name is Joyce Medina, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, major in Financial Management student from Bulacan State University, Meneses campus, and I'm your speaker for today's seminar. Our topic for today's seminar is drug awareness and prevention.
Droga, isang salita. Kapag iyong sinubukan, wala kang mapapala. 5 letra. Letrang nakakabahala.
Ito ang patay sa magkakahiwalay na operasyon ng pulisya kontra droga.
Patay ang isang batang 5 taong gulang matapos pagsasaksakin. Ang suspect, ang nanay nilang nakadroga umano.
Dead on the spot sa isang inkwentro ang isang tulak umano ng droga na suspect din sa pang-hold up.
Di mo ba alam? Basta't iyong sinubukan, tiyak kapahamakan iyong mararanasan.
Patay ang isang hinihinalang tulak ng droga na nanlaban umano sa mga pulis.
Nasa kalagitnaan umano ng paggamit ng droga ng pagbabarilin sila sa isang kubo.
Ramdam mo ba sa iyong kapaligiran ang mga matang tila ba'y may gustong ipaglaban at meron namang nagbubulag-bulagan sa isyong pangkapaligiran na drogang dahilan? Okay ka lang ba sa iyong nakikita? Karahasan, patayan na tila ba'y wala ng katahimikan o sa jabang wala kang pakialam? Gumising ka, panahon na, itigil na, dalamak na droga, iwaksina.
We will not stop until the last drug lord, the last financier, and the last pusher have surrendered or put behind bars or below the ground if they so wish.
Ako, ikaw, tayo. Isang barkada kontra droga.
So what do we need to cover in this topic? First is drug-related terms and concept, types of drugs, effect of drug use, comprehensive dangerous drug act, and last, skills for a drug-free life. Ano nga ba ang drugs? Drugs are substances that change a person's mental or physical state. They can affect the way your brain works, how you feel and behave, your understanding, and your senses. And it also affects the way your body and mind function. They can change how you feel, think, and behave. People take drugs for different reasons and in different ways. Find out about different drugs. So, ano nga ba ang pinagkaiba ng medicines at drugs? Medicines are used to cure diseases, safe for the human body, have insignificant toxic effects or side effects. After the ailment is cured, there is no addiction among the patients to use these compounds again. While the drugs, it may be used to cure diseases, may be harmful to the human body, may have significant toxic or side effects. After the ailment is cured, the patients might develop an addiction toward using these compounds again. Also in nature, drug is any chemical agent that alters the biochemical or physiological processes of tissues of organisms, while the medicine, it is a drug with curative properties. Always remember, ang medicines ay isang drugs at hindi lahat ng drugs ay maaring maging medicines. Ang drugs ay mayroong dalawang category, the illegal and legal drugs. Yung legal drugs, ito yung mga drugs na maaaring prescribe ng doctor or the prescription medication. It is also permissible for use at ito rin na ginagamit as a medicine. Katulad na lang kapag may sakit tayo, di ba? Umiinom tayo ng medicines like biogesic, mefenamic, and etc. They are intended for medical use, such as to ease pain symptoms and to treat health conditions. But meron rin tayong tinatawag na non-prescription medications, and ito yung mga pain relievers, cold, flu, and allergy medications. Ito yung kind ng legal drugs na safe basta susundin na yung instruction or the direction sa label. Habang illegal drugs naman, ito yung mga drugs na maaring makapekto sa body functions natin. And if the drug is classified as illegal, it means that it is forbidden by the law. It has a chemical effect sa ating katawan at sa utak natin. Here are some examples of drugs. But before we proceed to types of drugs, here's the two forms of drugs according to origin. First is natural drugs, and the synthetic or the artificial drugs. Natural drugs are products isolated from plants used in traditional medicines, and while the synthetic, it is drugs created using man-made chemicals rather than natural ingredients. Also, natural chemicals are produced by nature without human interventions, while the synthetic, it is chemical made by humans using methods indifferent than those nature uses, and these chemical structures may or may not be found in nature. Now, let's proceed to types of drugs. There are four types of drugs: the depressants, stimulants, hallucinogens, and cannabis. First is the depressants. Depressant substances reduce arousal and stimulation. They do not necessarily make a person feel depressed. Depressants are also known as downers because it can slow down your heart rate and cause your body temperature and blood pressure to drop. Example na depressants ay mga alcohol, opiates, heroin, narcotics, and morphine. But yung alcohol, hindi siya kinaklasssified as illegal. In fact, it is legal. Itong depressants ay mayroong epekto sa ating body functions and central nervous system dahil ito nagpapabagal sa message between our body and our brain. And it also affects the concentration and coordinations of the users. Yung ibang example ng depressants ay mga Zyprexa, Seroquel at Haldol na tinatawag rin nating major tranquilizer at antipsychotics. They are supposed to reduce the mental illness. Ito yung mga halimbawa ng drugs na ginagamit sa mga mental institutions para mapagaling ang kanilang mga patients. Ano-ano nga ba yung mga short-term effects ng depressants? First, it can slow down your brain function. It can slow down your pulse and breathing, lowered blood pressure, poor concentration, confusion, fatigue, dizziness, slurred speech, fever, sluggishness, visual disturbances, depression, and addiction. Next is the stimulants. Stimulants are a class of drugs that speed up the messages between the brain and the body. Stimulants speed up the heart rate and cause your body temperature and blood pressure to rise. Kung sa depressants, pinapabagal yung heart rate mo at pinapababa yung blood pressure at body temperature mo, sa stimulants naman ay kabaligtaran. Imbis na pabagalin, mas pinapabilis ito yung tibok ng puso mo. Hindi dahil sa in love ka, kung hindi dahil may substances ito nakaka-apekto sa puso mo para bumilis. Example nito ay yung methamphetamine, cocaine, at ecstasy. And two of most common substances in this category are nicotine and caffeine. When stimulants are taken, your brain experiences an increase in dopamine levels, which can result in feelings of pleasure as this neurotransmitter help boost your mood and enhance your concentration. This feel-good effect can be highly addictive. It often perpetuates the continued use of stimulants and exposes your body to a variety of serious health risks. Itong depressants ay may epekto katulad na lamang ng pagkawala ng gana sa pagkain, pagbilis ng heart rate, pati na rin yung pagtaas ng blood pressure at body temperature, interrupted sleeping patterns, panic, hallucinations, at mabilis mairita. Taking high dosages of stimulants can result in convulsion, seizures, and possibly even death. Ano-ano nga ba yung mga signs and symptoms ng stimulants abuse? Headaches, anxiety, fatigue, depressions, financial troubles, reduced appetite, and restlessness. Next is the hallucinogens. Hallucinogens are a diverse group of drugs that alter perceptions, thoughts, and feelings. Hallucinogens have some depressant qualities and some stimulant qualities, or ang ibig sabihin, ito ay pinaghalo depressants and stimulants. These drugs may cause people hear or see things that they are not really here. Ito yung kind ng legal drugs na nakakapagpawala sa ulirat ng isang tao. Kadalasan, ang mga nakagamit ito ay may nakikita na hindi natin nakikita at naririnig na hindi naririnig ng normal na tao. Some hallucinogens are extracted from plants or mushrooms and some are synthetic or handmade. Recently, nababalita sa mga news na ginagamit ito sa mga social gatherings or recreational purposes, including to have fun. Example ng hallucinogens ay mga LSD and DMT, and more. Hallucinogens work at least partially by temporarily disrupting communication between brain chemical system throughout the brain and spinal cord. Some hallucinogens interfere with the action of the brain chemical serotonin, which regulates the mood, sensory perception, hungry, sleep, body temperature, and sexual behavior. And the last type of drugs is cannabis, or also known as marijuana, among other names. It is a psychoactive drug from the cannabis plant used primarily for medical and recreational purposes. Cannabis, or also called marijuana, it is from the cannabis plant. You can smoke it, vape it, eat, and drink it. Yung marijuana ay mayroong mind-altering compounds na maaring makapekto sa utak at katawan ng isang tao. Here's what can happen when you use marijuana. First is you can get high. Meron siyang unleashed chemical na tinatawag na dopamine, which gives you a euphoric and relaxed feeling. Kapag nag-smoke ng weed ang isang user, the THC could get into the bloodstream quickly enough para maging high ka in seconds or minutes. Second, it may affect your mental health. Using marijuana may raise your chances for clinical depression or worse, magkaroon ka ng symptoms ng mental illness. And last, you may feel hungrier. Most of the marijuana user notices that it boosts their appetite. Tinatawag nila itong the munchies. Marami ng bansa ang nagli-legalize ng marijuana as a medicine, katulad ng mga bansang Alaska, Netherlands, Canada, Uruguay, South Africa, Jamaica, Costa Rica, Colombia, Spain, Belize, and Czech Republic. But hindi ibig sabihin na kapag legal na sa mga bansang ito ang marijuana ay maaari na itong abusuhin. Katulad na lamang sa bansang Uruguay na kailangan muna nilang magpa-register with the regulator. The country had legalized the recreational usage of marijuana in the year 2013 for people aged 18 and above. So, ibig sabihin may limit pa rin ang paggamit nito. Dito sa Pilipinas, pinag-aaralan pa rin ang pag-legalize ng marijuana as a medicine. But our President Duterte is opposed to the legalization of cannabis. He fears Filipino will simply use it as an excuse to cultivate marijuana for recreational purposes. Panoorin natin kung ano nga ba yung mga signs and symptoms ng isang drug abuse.
What are the signs that it's time to consider getting addiction treatment? The best way to find out if you're really an addict or alcoholic is to talk with a professional about your symptoms. Meanwhile, let's take a look at some of the physical and behavioral signs of addiction. Are you feeling tired during the day? Having trouble sleeping at night? Feeling strange when the substances start to wear off? Or having symptoms of depression or anxiety? Do you have shaky hands? Are your eyes bloodshot? Do you have bad breath? Do you get a bloody nose? Do you have a decreased appetite, or are you losing or gaining weight? Do you slur your speech? Are you developing a tolerance for the amount of the substance that's used, or going to multiple doctors to obtain prescriptions, aka doctor shopping? Are you feeling as though you want to stop using but you're unable to? Are you unable to stop using even though you're having medical problems? Are you spending a lot of time thinking about the substance of abuse, using more often than you intend to, losing interest in your favorite activities, having problems keeping up with your responsibilities? Are you being told that you have an addiction and need drug or alcohol rehab, borrowing or stealing money to pay for drugs or alcohol, keeping substance abuse behaviors a secret, or spending time with only people who use substances? Do you keep a stash of drugs or alcohol? Do you use drugs or alcohol to deal with your problems? Has using drugs or alcohol created relationship problems or legal problems? If you say yes to many of these behaviors, then you may have an addiction. Getting treatment is so important. At North Point Recovery, we can help. Ready to start? We're here for you. What's your day one?
So, ngayon, alam na natin kung ano nga ba yung mga physical and behavioral signs kung ang isang tao ay gumagamit ng drugs. Ngayon, I will give some tips for helping someone with drug addiction. Helping a loved one who is struggling with substance isn't easy, and there's no magic formula that will get your loved one to stop using it. However, here are some suggestions on how to help a loved one to get treatment for their drug addiction. First is, you need to educate yourself. You see what you know. Kasi kapag mayroon kang knowledge about sa drugs and the symptoms of drug abuse, madali na sa'yo malaman kung ang isang tao ba ay nagde-drugs or gumagamit nito. Second is, offer your support. People with addiction don't always understand how much their family and friends love them. Talk to your loved one about your concerns and don't wait for them to hit rock bottom to speak up. Let them know that you're going to support them on their journey to recovery. At huwag tayo basta-basta magja-judge ng isang tao. Third is, encourage them to get help. As with other diseases, the earlier addiction is treated, the better. However, don't be surprised if you met a denial or excuses as to why they can't or won't seek treatment. Be persistent about how important it is that the way they enter the treatment for their addiction. But avoid making them feel guilty or ashamed in the process. At imbis na i-down natin sila, dapat maging isa tayo sa magiging dahilan nila kung bakit sila magbabago at gawin ng tama. Fourth is, support recovery as ongoing process. Once your loved one decides to enter treatment, it is essential that you remain involved. Continue supporting their participation in ongoing care meetings and recovery. Support groups. Be the support system that they need and show them that you'll be there every step of the way. And last tip is, take care of yourself. Although you may see this as selfish, it's incredibly important that you're able to be there for others and make the best decisions possible. Make sure your own needs are met by getting enough sleep, exercising, and eating well. Don't be afraid to go to therapy to get help if you find yourself struggling due to your loved one's drug addiction. Okay, now, let's proceed to Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002 or the Republic Act 9165. It is the policy of the state to safeguard the integrity of its territory and the well-being of its citizenry, particularly the youth, from the harmful effects of dangerous drugs on their physical and mental well-being, and to defend the same against acts or omissions detrimental to their development and preservation. Ito yung batas na sumasakop sa mga illegal drugs dito sa Pilipinas. It was enacted and passed by the Senate of the Philippines and House of Representatives of the Philippines on May 30, 2002 and May 29, 2002 respectively. It was signed into law by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. This act repeals Republic Act 6425 and provides for the imposition of more severe penalties and the creation of the PDEA, or the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, to carry out this act. PDEA, aiming to safeguard the integrity of its territory and the well-being of its citizenry, particularly the youth, from the harmful effects of dangerous drugs on their physical and mental well-being, and to defend the same against acts detrimental or their development and preservation. The state needs to enhance further the efficacy of the law against dangerous drugs. Always remember, kahit sinong tao, direct or indirect involvement with drugs will be penalized by the law. The family shall be primarily responsible for the education and awareness of the member of the family on the ill effects of dangerous drugs and close monitoring of family members who may be susceptible to drug abuse. Article 9, Section 82. Under Article 2, the following constitutes several unlawful acts and their corresponding penalties summarized as follows. So, ano-ano nga ba yung mga punishments na pwedeng maisumpa sa mga taong involved sa drugs? First is the importation of dangerous drugs or controlled precursor and essential chemicals. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Second is sale, trading, administration, dispensation, delivery, distribution, and transportation of dangerous drugs. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Third, maintenance of den, drive, or resort. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Fourth, employees and visitors of den, drive, or resort, 12 years in prison and 1 day to 20 years and fine ranging from 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. Next, manufacture of dangerous drugs or controlled precursor and essential chemicals, life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Next is the possession of dangerous drugs, life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Next is the possession of equipment, instruments, apparatus, and other paraphernalia of dangerous drugs. 6 months, 1 day to 4 years imprisonment, and a fine of 10,000 to 50,000 pesos. Next is the possession of dangerous drugs during parties, social gatherings, or meetings. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Next is the possession of equipment, instrument, apparatus, and other paraphernalia during parties, social gatherings, or meetings. 6 months and 1 day to 4 years imprisonment and a fine of 10,000 to 50,000. Next is use of dangerous drugs. For the first time, 6 months rehabilitation in the government center. The second time imprisonment from 6 years and 1 day to 12 years and a fine from 50,000 to 200,000 pesos. Next is the cultivation or culture if plants classified as dangerous drugs or are sources thereof. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. Next is maintenance of keeping of original records of transactions on dangerous drugs. 1 year and 1 day to 6 years imprisonment and fine ranging from 10,000 to 50,000 pesos. Next is unnecessary prescription of dangerous drugs. 12 years and 1 day to 20 years of imprisonment and fine ranging from 100,000 to 500,000 pesos. And last, unlawful prescription of dangerous drugs. Life imprisonment to death, fine ranging from 500,000 to 10 million pesos. So, dito na nga nagtatapos ang ating seminar. Sana ay may natutunan kayo sa ating seminar ngayon. Lagi nating tatandaan na ang drugs ay hindi solusyon sa kahit na anong problema. Say no to drugs. See you sa susunod nating seminar at ingat and God bless.